Hey there, Rodrigo from DJ Tech Zone. So today I'm reviewing the newest controller from Pioneer DJ, the DDJ-FLX6, which came out a few months ago. I got it in the studio for a review, and we're going to go through everything. So this controller costs $600, and that's not cheap. It's expensive for what I consider to be more geared towards entry level than to professional, but still for $600, a 4-channel controller, full-size jog wheels, performance pads, a few nifty effects thrown in, and some cool stuff in there. It's you know, you get some value for that money, but still, if you own a DDJ 400 that you can get for around $250 and you want to go to this, it's kind of an investment. And it's not far away from, for example, DDJ 800 or 1000 that has a similar look and feel but more professional, better quality of materials, better build, but quite a bit more expensive. So it's up to you. I consider it an entry-level controller that is kind of expensive, but you can also see it as a mid-level controller that's fairly priced. So up to you how you interpret the pricing strategy of Pioneer there. So for $600, what do you get? Well, first of all, what jumps into view clearly are those large size jog wheels with a central screen. Let's say it has a indicator of the needle, like on the CDJs, and the jog wheels are full size and they feel pretty good. One of the things that bother me on these jog wheels is the fact that they are completely made out of plastic. So there is no rubberized side. So when you're nudging, you have this, you're nudging plastic basically. It doesn't feel that qualitative, but then again, it's $600 and for what it's worth, they're well built. It's good quality. It's plastic, but it's good quality plastic. I would only say that, you know, you could have something more dignified and more high level, and people will probably pay a little bit more for it, but you know, I don't know, it's hard to say. I like the fact that they're big because they feel really good to play on and they're very responsive, so they're good quality jog wheels, only the finishing is a little bit plasticky if you want. The controller itself is fully made out of plastic, and that you can feel and see, but the finish is quite nice. It's very soft to the touch. It's like slightly rubberized plastic, so it's not that hard plastic that you have here on the sides of the jog wheels. That would be really bad. But it's like a matte, very rubberized feeling, so that's pretty nice. And you have these sections that distinguish because they are very hard plastics, and the contrast is nice, I think. The look and feel as such is nice. The way that the controller is built and designed is you have two channels. It's a 4-channel controller, of course. You can easily switch decks, and on top of each deck you have the typical Pioneer DJ loop section with the in and out buttons, the reloop buttons, cue call, memory, and so forth. You know that from the CDJs, and this is a new style of loop section. I'm not the biggest fan, to be honest. I think that I prefer the way others do it with loop sections, that you see the size of your loop on the controller and you can scroll through the size and just engage it. But if you want to have that CDJ feeling on a DJ controller, this is of course the way to do it, and I think it's more because of that Pioneer implemented this way. Then you have, I'm gonna immediately go into a few things that make this controller unique. The first thing is the jog cutter. It allows you to engage scratching sounds when you're playing. I'll give you an example. Okay, so you see the problem there. It's kind of out of sync. and the scratch sounds are, well, hit and miss. I guess if you would do it on a slower track, they would sound better. But I would expect that the algorithm would manage to do it on any kind of track. And at this point, it's not super useful to me. I guess that it will improve, and Pioneer will be able to maybe in software implement different type of scratch patterns that you can select. I don't know if you can, I don't think you can do it now. At least I have not seen something that shows that you can do it now. But so yeah, it's a hit and miss, to be honest. But they are there. The second thing is the merge FX. And the merge FX is actually 4 type of merge FX you have on each deck, and you can really customize them as much as you want. And what they do is, you're playing a track and you want to transition away from that track. Let's give an example. So what happens, I activate them. You hear? Start to turn them. And I move to the other track. So it's pretty nice, pretty nifty. You have a few different effects here. You have a few different effects here. Let's select another one. You can scroll through them. So you can create some cool stuff using these effects. Stuff like that. I like it. It takes a little bit of configuration and setting up, because as I said, you can actually configure them on the screen pretty easily and pretty extensively. So it's a nice creative idea, and it's next to the usual effects that you have on this mixer, that you can combine them even if you want using the tool. So those are the merge effects. You have one button by deck, and once you set up and you get using them, I guess it's fun to play around with. Performance pads. So the performance pads are not the rubberized high quality level type, so the backlit ones. They are more the ones on standard DJ controllers or basic DJ controllers from Pioneer DJ, but they're pretty good. I mean, you have the hot cues, you have pad effects, you have the beat jump, and underneath you have keyboard, key shift, beat loop, and then the last one is sampler or sampler scratch. And when you go into sample scratch mode, you can simply scratch your samples, which is also pretty cool. In Serato DJ Pro, this is called, I believe, Scratch Bank. So it's a different implementation on Serato DJ Pro than on Rekordbox DJ, which I'm using here. So the performance pads, while they are small and not the backlit rubberized one, they're more plasticky, cheaper versions of performance pads. They're fine. They're good for use, for general use. I wouldn't try to do very advanced finger drawing on them. It's not big enough, but they're fine. The pitch fader is also to my liking. It's not a big pitch fader, but still it's very well weighted. So, you know, you can really set a fine pitch with this pitch fader. Those are the decks. That's the decks. Let's go to the mixer. So it's a 4-channel mixer. You have channel 3 and 4 on the outside, 1 and 2 on the inside. And you have a 3-band EQ with filter knobs on the bottom, which are just that. They are not color effects, they're just filter buttons. They only have one function. A big browse knob. You can switch deck 4 between sampler and deck 4, which means that you can set a dedicated deck for your sampler section. It's pretty cool because you get all the controls of one channel to use on your samples. That's pretty nice. You have the load buttons, a few navigational buttons on the side, And you have the channel faders, which are also relatively well weighted, so they're not too quick. The crossfader is pretty simple. There are no controls for it. This is not a scratch mixer, of course. So it's also very loose and the curve is very wide. So not a really good scratch crossfader, but you know what? This is not a scratch controller either. So you can expect that. Let's move to the effect section. So you have a master and a boot level. I will go into the details a bit later about the inputs and the outputs. And you have a Q button for the master and your beat FX section. And the beat FX section is pretty particular because you have the FX select, the channel select, and the beat select buttons. And with those three buttons, you can actually switch all the parameters. So you can select which FX bank you want to apply to which channel and to which beat. Now, this is not bad, but the problem is that you don't see which effect is selected. And browsing through the banks is not as easy as using a scroll wheel because you can really jump to the one you want. Here you really have to browse through them one by one, and if you miss the one that you want, you have to go around again. So that's the same for everything here, so for the beats and for everything. So I don't think it's a bad implementation because you still see which bank is selected. If you know what is behind which bank, that's fine, but I would love to see a little LCD screen in there that shows me which is the effect that I have selected. That would make it really so much easier. You have a level depth and you have an on-off button to manage your FX. Okay, those are the basic features of the FLX6 DJ controller. On the front of the controller, we have two headphone inputs, a mini jack and a normal jack. You have the level, the mix for the headphones and the mic level. And on the back side, we have the master, the booth, output, both unbalanced RCA, unfortunately, the balanced and unbalanced mic input with attenuation, and the USB port. What do I think of this controller? I think it's a nice setup for those that have started to play with a very basic controller, got the hang of it, and want to do more. For example, people that want to stream, want to, record mixes at home to put them online. And maybe in the future, whenever we can do it back, we can go again to parties and have house parties and stuff like that. Use that for that purpose. I think it's fine. I think it's really a good investment for someone who wants to have those 4 channels, to have that professional looking and feeling setup and get used to that professional feeling setup. For $600, I think it's a good price, especially because with that you get Serato DJ Pro or Rekordbox, the full versions at no extra cost, so you get the software with it as well. So that makes the investment a little less hard to make. Is it good for a club DJ looking to have something to use on a club level? Well, yes, definitely they can use it, but I would say that you have better options. I would rather go for an 800, DDJ 800 or 1000, because there you have a better view on what's going on the effects. And to be honest, for a club DJ, you don't need those merge effects. You can do this on your own. I'm not sure this is something that will interest a club DJ or somebody that, a mobile DJ, but then again, you never know. So yeah, I think it's a nice, it's not a toy. Let's be clear about it. This is definitely not a toy. It's not a professional DJ controller either. It's in between and it has things of both worlds, and it's a nice experiment from Pioneer, and I commend them for being creative and coming up with stuff like the jog cutter and merge effects. I would love the jog cutter to be worked out a little bit further and to be more consistent and better sounding, if you want. I think it's a bit crude there, the way that it's implemented, but might be that I'm missing something as well and I'm not doing something correctly. I wouldn't rule that out either. I hope you liked my review of the DDJ-FLX6. If you did, certainly comment below. Give me a like on this video. Share the video also with your friends and interested parties that want to see more about this mixer. And let me know what you thought about it. And I will see you in the next review. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you liked the video you just saw, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the red button underneath this video. Also, if you want to be notified, hit the notification bell so you get notifications in your mailbox about new videos that we release. And also, don't forget to give us a like on this video if you liked it, so that the video gets promoted on YouTube and we get more views from it. That would be nice. Thank you so much for doing all that.